Hey there, Fully Fitters. This is Coach AJ, and you're watching another episode of Living Fully Fit. And again, this week's topic is resilience. And we're looking at fully fit relationships and what resilience and how resilience works in our relationships. So think about this. We're trying to build relationships. We're trying to keep relationships. We're trying to establish relationships. We're trying to preserve relationships. But sometimes things come along the way that can throw obstacles that way, right? Sometimes there's things, situations that happen that can create walls in our relationships or prevent relationships from building. And so we're going to look at, from outside perspective, of how do we look at relationships and how do we become more resilient in keeping and building and reconnecting in our relationships. We're in a very polarized time right now in our world where politics and ideas and thoughts, religion, all those things tend to just divide relationships and cut them out completely. And no one's having conversation or communion anymore. And so what we're going to look at is how do we continually build relationships but yet still disagree? How do we maintain relationships through resilience? And how do we become more resilient in our relationships? Because sometimes we'll have those fall down moments where we have a disagreement. How do we come back to the table and come back and be united? Because that's what we're meant for. We're designed to have a relationship with people. And so we're looking at how do we maintain that? How do we keep that connection going? Building new relationships or maintaining the current relationships or trying to fix old relationships that we've lost. Whether it's the hard topics that have kind of plagued our world where families are divided and old friendships are crushed or coworkers are bumping heads, whatever those relationships are, we need to be resilient enough to bounce back from that and not have a little bit thicker skin, and also be able to understand the other person and to empathize more. So I'm going to give you guys some steps, just ideas to kind of help you on the right direction to help you be more resilient in your relationships. First of all, like I just said earlier, empathy. Empathize. You don't have to sympathize, you don't have to agree, but put yourself in other person's shoes. Think about when you're trying to build or restore a relationship after some kind of traumatic things happen or the way the world is right now. How you do that is based off of how you see that person, right? Put yourself in that person's shoes. Have empathy. Try to see it in their perspective, in their viewpoint, right? When you start doing that, then you start to see them beyond the topic, beyond the argument, beyond whatever it is. You see what they're coming through, what their struggle is, maybe their thought process. You may not have to agree. You don't have to agree. You don't have to even change your thoughts. You just have to put yourself in their shoes for a moment. This is number 2, consider. After you empathize and you put yourself in their shoes, think about considering what they're saying. Again, I'm not saying agree. I'm not saying change your viewpoint, take a 180. I'm saying consider. Because maybe you are wrong. Maybe you are in the wrong. Maybe what you're saying is wrong. Maybe your viewpoint is wrong. And maybe not. But take a step and consider their thought. Consider their belief. Consider their stance. Consider where they're coming from and what they're saying. You may still have a strong stance and you may be right, who knows. But either way, how you build resiliency in relationships is by considering. When you start doing that, you're able to bounce back into the relationship. You're able to connect again. So again, empathize and then consider. Consider what they're saying. Listen. Considering means you listen. It means you're not arguing. You're not hearing them to respond. You're listening. You're absorbing what they have to say because that's important. You're giving them the respect that you want back. So you're respecting them by listening, not talking back to them, not trying to cut them off or shut them down, but you're listening. You're absorbing what they have to say to consider. Number 3, understand. So just because you don't agree, just because you have a different viewpoint or different thought process, or you think you're right, try to understand the person. Understand their struggle, understand their mind. It kind of goes and kind of ties into empathy, but a little bit different. You're going a little bit deeper than empathy. You're going a little bit deeper than put yourself in their shoes. You're digging deep into the questions of why they believe this. You're understanding them more. You're trying to dig a little bit deeper at the root, the core belief, digging that iceberg, so to speak, and seeing what's beyond just the tip of what they believe in. The depth of it. Why do they believe this? Maybe it's their race, maybe it's their background, maybe it's how they were raised. Either way, that's what you're digging deeper to. When you start to understand them and compact that and expound upon that a little bit and go into the context of why, then when you're understanding them, you give them that respect. And when they feel understood, they're more open to building a relationship or rebuilding a relationship. So again, when you understand someone and when someone feels understood, think about this. When someone makes you feel understood, you feel great about it. It's a great feeling to feel understood. So why not give that same courtesy to someone else? Because when you do, you're building bridges, not walls. Last but not least, number 4, love. Love. It's a lost concept. I think we use that word very loosely. Well, I love people. Okay, do you love all people? I know me as a Christian, I know I'm taught to love. And what that means, it means I love regardless. It's unconditional love. I'm not like some people, but doesn't mean I'm not going to stop loving them. I don't want bad things to happen to people. I want good things to happen to people. You know, even people that do harm to me, I still love them because that's what I'm called to do, because hating them isn't doing any good. Hating a person based off of their belief or race or background or what they did to you, whatever it is, hate in its entirety in itself is poison. I heard this quote once that hate is like taking rat poison, expecting the rat to die. That's what hate is. And we're in a world full of hate, unfortunately. But all hate does is create toxic environment. All hate does is destroy things. It destroys relationships. It doesn't do any good to harbor onto anger or rage or hate or resentment. Those things don't help you. And so I think a lot of times how we bounce back up in our relationships, how we build resilience in our relationships, how we maintain relationships and connect with other people is if we do those 4 things. It's a good start. It's not the final answer. There's still a lot more work we have to do. But it's a good start. It's a good foundation in order to build resilient, strong, connected relationships and maintain them, or even rebuild them as well. I'm Coach AJ, and you just watched another episode of Living Fully Fit. Thanks for watching. If you like what you watched, make sure to subscribe down below. Check me out on Facebook. A lot of new content and quotes and ideas and thoughts go in there. Hopefully conversation as we start to build more subscribers on there. But again, if you like what you're watching and all the other content, make sure to subscribe, like, share with someone else. These videos are designed to help you and other people around you to build a more fully fit life. So if you see the little icon that's kind of in the corner here, it's part of the whole triad, or not even a triad, it's more of a 5-piece of what living fully fit is. Last time we talked about the fully fit mind, we talked about fully fit relationships. Each color circle connects. It's all about balance, balancing our fitness in every aspect, in every way. So hopefully you enjoy. Make sure to subscribe. Check you out next time.